My name is Martin Matter with the Witness to War Foundation. It is March 27th, 2014, and we are in Hiawassee, Georgia. I'm sitting with Mr. Vaugh Barrett, Vaughn Barrett, who serves in the Pacific Theater of World War II in the United States Army, in the 544th Engineer Boat and Shore Regiment, Company D. How are you doing today, Vaughn?
Very good.
My first question is, where are you from originally? Where are you from originally?
First, here or overseas?
Here.
Okay, I lived here in Hiawassee.
And could you tell me about your life before you joined the military?
Okay. Yeah, I was born here at Hiawassee on a farm, and my mother died when I was small, and my father had three kids, and I was the middle of them, and I had to stay at home with the kid, and so I didn't get any education, and but I had to plow, and we had to make all the food that we eat that year, and I had to do all the plowing in the wintertime to get ready for summertime to plant corn and other crops, So then I would get little old jobs. I was just a kid, and I just get little old jobs picked up. Anybody wanted a little work done, I'd do a little work around, And the finally the CCs come in. They built CC camps. So I got old enough. I went into the CC camps and stayed till they broke up. Quit. And sent the money, we get, I think it's $25 a month. And they'd send $20 home and give you $5. And I stayed to them till they broke up, done away with it, Well, it got done away with that, the war started. And it'd been running a while, and we took a lot smarter training in the CC camps, and we knew how to handle ourselves. And so they got me right quick. I could shoot a gun pretty good. So I went to war then.
Well, tell me about your training. What all do you remember about your training?
Training? Well, my training, they didn't give me too much training, but it was cold. It was real cold. Massachusetts, And they done that, and then the ship put us on a train and sent us to Florida. We took jungle training for a while, and then they put us on a train and sent us to California, and went on a great bridge and took off to Japan. Not Japan, New Guinea.
Could you tell me more about your jungle training and what that was like?
Yeah, well, why?
Could you tell me more about the jungle training and what that was like?
Oh,
You said you were in jungle training?
Oh, yeah. We had jungle training in Florida.
And what was that like? What do you remember about that?
Well, they had us jumping in the ocean and swimming and just like getting ready, carrying your guns in and all like that. And
what was the hardest part for you?
Well, the hardest part was when you're going through the obstacle, crawling on your stomach and through them swamps and things, and going on them wire fences, and that was the roughest, in the training. And then climbing them big boards, getting off on the other side.
So you went to California, and then how did you get into the Pacific? Did you take a ship? You took a ship into the Pacific?
Well, we just rode the train up iron steps off and loaded up on a boat and went overseas.
Do you remember what kind of boat it was?
No, I don't. Everything's blurry, Jimmy, now.
Well, where's the first place you remember going? The first place you went when you were on the boat?
We landed New Guinea.
New Guinea, that's
Yeah.
right. Tell me about landing in New Guinea.
Well, we just stayed there for a while, went on to Dutch East Indian, on the Stonewall Island, then on into the Philippines. But they had all that cleaned out. I mean, we didn't do much on just get ready to hit the Philippines, you know.
Were there still natives around when you got there?
Oh yeah, there's plenty of enemies around.
Natives. Native people from New Guinea, were they around when you got there?
Well, no, they was dug in too, you know. We had to shoot them out, you know. They boned them. And
When was the first time you encountered an enemy?
the first time we had combat,
Uh-huh.
and it was the Philippines.
And how soon after you landed?
Well, when we landed, we had to push them off in the Philippine island, around the ocean, till we could get off. And then when we could get off, we went to work. I mean, on the amphibious engineers, we had to fix places to store our ammunition, our bombs, and gas, and everything we had to make places to put them in where we camouflage them. And so they guarded us. We just under fire, you know. They guarding us and keep from hitting them dumps, you know, and blowing them up. But sometimes they come in at night and try to get us, but they shoot them off.
What sort of things did you do to camouflage the ammo and gas?
What we're doing?
Yeah, what did you do to camouflage?
Well,
things?
they had big, I'd call them canvas, but then now it's all covered up, kind of like the area we was in, you know, where but on it just showed like trees and from there down, but they couldn't hardly get it right direct on them.
And how many men were in your unit working on all this?
How many men?
Uh-huh.
Well, I don't know. They just scattered all over the beach from one end to the other, you know, all of us.
And how close to the front lines were you? How close to the front lines were you?
Well, we was right next to the ocean, wasn't it? Like ocean, not right to the water, but anyhow, it was back from kind of like the edge of the woods or something, trees. But I remember when we'd be at causeways with a dozer. We call them causeways, but anyhow, they just ramps. We'd be able, where the ships would come in and unload their trucks. Trucks would go out this causeways they built and pick up the stuff off the ship, bring out to the dumps. But anyhow, I was on one of the dozers that had the pan on the back of it. They'd haul that dirt. One night or evening, it's coming out through there, and the siren went off. There's a raid coming. And we had time to kind of take cover, but anyhow, I just dropped the pan on mine and crawled under the dozer. There was a pull on that pan, and the boy was bumming and shooting, and that dozer, I never cut it off, and it just sitting there idling, you know, and it's a heavy dozer. And that thing settled down on my back, and I like to never crawl out from under that thing when I was all over, you know. But the shrapnel falling everywhere.
And did any of it hit you?
Pardon?
Did any of the shrapnel hit you?
I didn't understand it, but
Did any of the shrapnel hit you?
no. No, I was on that steel tractor, a big tractor, but it settled down on me, you know. It was soft dirt like. I didn't think about that, but I thought about it the next time.
How quickly were you building these causeways and ammo dumps? How fast were you building things on the island?
How fast
Uh-huh.
it could run? I don't really know. You just saw him hauling dirt on the roads. I guess I did. They run pretty fast, like get them started up. But
When did you move off the beach in the Philippines? When did you get off the beach?
well, when we got on the beach, the Philippines went on Japan. We was fixing to hit Japan, whether they surrendered or not. They had us to put new ends on our dozers, cutting ends, and we had to waterproof them, all of our equipment, and so that was. We was going on to the Philippines, to Japan, and so the company moved up the beach. Our company that was not in the motor pool, you know. They moved up the beach 100 miles and got on the ship, and it was loaded up. And we supposed, a big boat supposed to come in and pick we had 13 pieces in our squad that we worked in, 13 pieces of heavy equipment. We had to load it on a boat. So they come in to pick us up, but anyhow, they dropped the atomic bomb, and then they wouldn't let us load for another week. We had to stay there. Was that another week? The Navy wouldn't take us up. So anyhow, they called in and told us, come on out. And so we went out. So the ship was going to load up. We had a backhoe. We were in a crane on the truck, on a little old boat we had. So I reckon he's the captain of the ship or something, but then he told us, he said, well, I'd like to load up the seating where we can pull out in the morning. Said, but everyone I've got that does that is out on shore on a leave. And old Ezzy, he in our outfit, he run a crane and loaded stuff in Ohio. He said, I'll load them. He said, you can't load these on this. You can't use this big crane. He said, why? He said, I was wore out being a crane. And they let him have it and show him. Told him, said, drop it over in this hatch. And he grabbed them levers and he shot her down. Went and he hollered and said, don't go so fast, you'll knock the bottom out of the thing. He said, I know what I'm doing. So he done that time to it. And he said, I believe you can handle it all right. He said, yeah. Well, he said, I ain't got no riggers. So rig a thing up to haul up. He said, well, yeah. I said, all my men can do that too. And he said, let's see some of them doing it. And he called us down there to do that, you know. We re-rigged it up. He dropped a big bolt under out there, we call it, and hooked on to him, and he eased it up a little bit and shook it. And so guy on the ship, he said, I believe that'll hold. And he said, I know it'll hold. He just put it over there and We loaded her up. So he called Edge as the boss man, you know, and he called Edge, told him to tell all of us men to come in his office. We went in his office when we got up there, and he gave us all $10 apiece, American money. We hadn't seen none in almost 3 years. You know.
What all did you have to build things out of? Did you have wood, or were you using things from the island?
He just donated it to us. I reckon he didn't take no time. Keep no time.
And this was all on Japan, correct? This was all on Japan?
Yeah, what was going on in Japan then, yeah.
And did you deal with any Japanese people while you were on Japan?
Oh, yeah.
And what do you remember about that?
Well, I remember we wasn't supposed to get on no train. And me and no guy from, let's see, I forget now where he lived. He lived up north somewhere. And my brother, he came over on the ship, occupation troop, and so we just having to unload ourselves, the ship, you know, till some our occupation troops got in to where we could turn it over to them. So when they got in, well, we'd get to come back home. So me and old James Short, we thought he said, I'd like to go see you, brother. And I said, well, we ain't supposed to get on a ship. And I mean, a train. He said, yeah, but said, we'll slip up there and get on it. It wasn't too far. We had a little old camping place. And we went up there and got on that train when it came in. And we couldn't speak English, and them old boys that run that train, they couldn't speak it either. But we went on. They told the one that told us how to get there. You know, he wasn't on there either. But anyhow, he gave us the directions and wrote a little old slip and told us to give that to the conductor. And we did. And he took us right to the place.
And what'd you do when you got there?
Well, my brother and I, we just talked and stayed in where he was at and talked, I think about a day, and caught the train back. We had fun. And
where did you go after that?
Let's see. Well, we got our uniforms ready to come back home, and it wasn't too long till we got on the ship and come back to the States. We had to have everything sewed on. We had everything tore off in our uniform. We had to have everything sewed on the uniform, and I couldn't sew, and a Short couldn't either. And a little old lady lived up just a few steps from where we was at. And we took her a bunch of old canned stuff that we had left over, you know, up there, and our suits and things to fix. And she couldn't speak English. We couldn't speak it to her, you know. And we showed her how we wanted it, you know. And we'd put that needle like that, you know. And about that time, there's one walked with the window there, and he's a boy, and he come in, and he went to talk to his mama, and then he turned to us, and he told us what she said to him about the sewing. Yeah, it helped out a lot. Like, and we watched her sew a while. She just had it up sewing like that, and then she'd do that needle through that hair. And we asked that The guy said, what's she doing putting that needle through her? Said she's oiling her needle. You know, she looked like she's 100 years old. She could really use that needle. Boy, she done a good job on it.
And where did you arrive when you got back to the States? Where did you arrive when you got back to the States?
Atlanta. Yeah, we went back to Atlanta. And
did you discharge from there too?
Yeah. Oh no, not Atlanta. I caught the bus to back in the bus that comes through there.
And what did you do when you discharged? What did you do when you discharged?
Well, I went to work as construction work. Be on roads.
Did your Army training help you later on as a construction worker?
Well, I'll tell you what, I've never been treated any worse in my life than I was when I come home and got a little old job. No, I farmed a little bit for the first. Then when I farmed a little bit, well, I wanted to build me a house. And there's a guy that was maintaining the town's county road through the states, you know. And I went out there and asked him, I said, Clyde, I said, would you happen to have a opening for another man? I said, I want to get on a job and I get a little money off of the government to build a house. And I said, I'd like to sign up and get that and start. He said, well, yeah. I said, you go. It was a Gainesville and told me where to go to down at the state office. Go in and tell them your problems. And said, tell them that I can use you. And I know a little about equipment and stuff like that, you know. And I said, I can get on learning how to operate machinery, you know, more. So he did. He fixed me up. I went to work, and I worked about 3 years for him. And it come election time, representing the Senate, two of our men run. One of them got elected, the other got beat. And one we was working for was the one who was elected. I mean, working in. But this other man beat this one. And he laid their boss man off, and then they started laying us off. He laid every one of us off. Worked on that job, and I told him, I said, I've got fixed up with the government here to build my house, and I said, I can't build it without that little check coming in too. And so they said they can't have it. Now they laid me off just where you fought for our country or not, but I didn't have no say. But I could have got back on. My father-in-law tried to get me to go to and see the governor. The governor didn't know nothing about this, so see the governor and talk to him about that, and said, I'll guarantee you that he'll put you back on. But I didn't do it. I said, feel that dirty. I said, I'll make it somehow.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
I'd like to talk some more about your time in Luzon and in the Philippines. Could you tell me what else you remember about some of the combat that was going on there?
In the Philippines?
Uh-huh.
They had a big, in the middle of where we was at, a big rock wall around several acres there, and big houses, big fine houses. You know, I forget now, I believe about 9 foot high and wide, you know, where nothing could tear it down. But they bummed her down, and then we had to clean it up. I helped clean that up, you know. And I was going out through there and pushed down an old house and cutting the corners off. I hit something, boy, it throwed fire. It throwed fire for the way on out there. You know. I laid down that old tractor seat, backed up, got out of there. Yeah, and we worked and cleaned that up.
Did you have a bulldozer or anything, or did you
Yeah,
just...
it was.
And do you have any close calls while you were in the Philippines?
Oh, yeah.
Could you tell me about one?
Well, we had one night a bumming bunch coming out of the planes, you know, and they slipped in just about dark. I mean, you know, we couldn't. They didn't get it just right, but anyhow, none of us got hardly dug in or anything. And they come in and everybody had to take just what cover they could find. And we did, and then boy, it slapped me just falling off the side of it and wore out, you know. And I'd say that was a close call. And when we was going over the forming the task force to hit Japan, why we had the ship. They was parked out, loading up in the ocean. They come in that one evening and bummed us, and trying to knock them ships out, you know. And but they had enough of planes that they put them back. And men old Short, James Short, we supposed to went down underneath, you know, and get out when they had a braid like that. Man, we was on LST, and that low, they'd put the trucks on top deck, and down at the bottom they'd put tanks and other equipment like that. It was on tracks, and but then me and James, we rolled up under one of them big trucks that was loaded down with stuff, you know, and stayed up there and watched the fight. We laid under us and shoot them planes down. And what goes now, there was a box loaded with something, I don't know, it was along from here to the wall there, and about so wide. It fell off of that truck. It's so rough, you know, them shooting, the water got rough. I mean, you know, them fellas on them ships was shooting, you know, and they'd have to turn around when the plane would start this way. They'd have to turn their ship around to get the gun where they could shoot them. And man, they had the ocean where we that rough, you know, and it knocked that box off, you know, and it fell right down beside of us. If it hit, it just killed both of us.
Did you ever listen to Tokyo Rose while you were in the Pacific?
Hmm?
Did you ever listen to Tokyo Rose while you were in the Pacific?
No.
Okay. Do you have any funny stories from your time overseas?
Hmm.
Could you tell me some of the medals that you earned?
Well, I've gone around something for the medal we got.
You earned the bronze arrowhead. What medal is that, and how did you earn it?
Well, I've done some I just don't remember. Yeah, I read older, I'm forgetting a lot of things, you know.
It's all right. I think you've earned it. Did you have any leaders that inspired you?
Mm-hmm.
Any leaders that inspired you while you fought in the war?
No.
What was the scariest moment you ever had overseas? Scariest moment?
The what?
The moment you were the most scared.
I don't remember.
Is there anything that you miss about being in the military?
No, I don't think so.
Well, were there any other stories that you were looking to tell? Anything that might have slipped your mind? Well, it's been a real pleasure to get to speak to you today. I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time, but most importantly, I'd like to thank you very much for your service.
Well, I'm so sorry that I can't remember a lot of this, but I'll forget even now. I'll forget names. I won't even know what their name is, but I know them by face and can't call their names, you know. I know them all my life. I mean, you know, behind.
Don't even worry about it. It's been a real pleasure. Thank you.